MGM Studios, Culver City, California. Soundstage 12. November 14, 1947. 2:47 p.m. James Stewart stands near the camera watching a scene being blocked when a voice cuts through the set like a whip crack. A woman's shoulders tighten. The crew goes still. Something is about to break. The day starts ordinary. Stage 12 smells like sawdust and hot tungsten. Carpenters hammer the last nails into a brownstone facade. Electricians adjust key lights on wheeled stands. Script girls flip through revised pages. The smell of coffee from craft services mixes with cigarette smoke and paint thinner. This is a prestige picture. Big budget, big names, the kind MGM builds Oscar campaigns around. James Stewart arrived at 6 a.m. for makeup. Sat in the chair for 40 minutes while they smoothed foundation over the lines around his eyes, combed his hair into the Jimmy Stewart look audiences expect. The face in the mirror doesn't match how he feels inside, but that's the job. That's always been the job. By 7:30 he's on set. Costume fitting, final script notes, small talk with the director about camera angles and emotional beats. Professional, efficient. This is his 20th year in Hollywood. He knows the rhythm. The production is 3 weeks in. Slightly behind schedule but not disastrously so. The usual tensions simmer beneath the surface. The director wants more time. The studio wants it faster and cheaper. The producers want control. The actors want respect. Everyone wants something. At 9 a.m. they start shooting. Simple dialogue scene. Stewart hits his marks, says his lines, does it again when the director asks for another take. Does it a third time when the producer, standing just off camera with his arms crossed, mutters something about energy. The producer's name is Harold Beckman. He's been with MGM for 12 years. Started as a junior executive and climbed by attaching himself to successful projects and powerful people. He's good at sensing which way power flows and positioning himself accordingly. Good at taking credit, good at deflecting blame, good at making sure everyone knows he has the studio's ear. He's also good at making people uncomfortable. Stewart has worked with him twice before. Knows his reputation, knows the whispers, knows that crew members tense up when Beckman enters a room, knows that young actors and actresses leave meetings with him looking shaken. But Stewart is not young anymore. He's a star. He has leverage. He has the kind of power that lets him walk off a set if he needs to. Not everyone has that power. Her name is Dorothy Chen. 23 years old. This is her 4th film. Small roles so far: secretary, hostess, nurse. Parts written as girl number 2 or woman at party. Lines that exist to set up the leading man's joke or move the plot forward. But she's good, really good. Stewart noticed it the first day of rehearsals. The way she listens when other actors speak. The way she finds small authentic moments even in throwaway lines. The way she understands the rhythm of a scene. She has potential. The kind Hollywood notices if you're lucky. The kind Hollywood destroys if you're not. Dorothy arrived in Los Angeles 2 years ago from San Francisco. Her parents own a grocery store in Chinatown. They wanted her to be a teacher or a nurse. Something stable, something respectable. But Dorothy wanted to act. Saved money from working at the store. Took a Greyhound bus south. Found a cheap apartment in a boarding house on Bunker Hill. Started going to auditions. The first year was brutal. Casting directors looked at her face and saw only ethnicity. Do you do accents? Can you play Japanese? We need someone exotic. She learned to smile through the questions that made her stomach turn. Then she got a callback. Then a part. Then another. Small but steady. Enough to pay rent. Enough to keep going. This film is her biggest role yet. Actual character name. 3 scenes. One of them opposite James Stewart himself. When she found out, she called her parents from a payphone and cried. She's been professional on set. Prepared. Punctual. Polite to everyone from the director to the grips. Does her job and tries not to make waves because making waves gets you replaced. But this morning, something went wrong. They're shooting a scene in the brownstone set. Dorothy's character is supposed to enter through a door, cross to a table, pick up a letter, read it, react. Simple blocking. They've rehearsed it twice. On the first take, Dorothy hits her mark but the lighting is wrong. Director calls cut. They adjust. Reset. Second take. Dorothy enters, crosses, reaches for the letter. She picks up the wrong prop. There are 2 letters on the table. One is the plot-critical letter her character is supposed to read. The other is set dressing, a random envelope placed there to make the table look lived in. In the moment, focused on her emotional preparation, Dorothy picks up the wrong one. She realizes immediately, sees the blank envelope, freezes, cut. The director's voice is calm. Dorothy, wrong letter, the one on the left. I'm sorry. Her voice is quiet. Can we go again? Of course. Reset. The script supervisor marks it down. The camera assistant checks his focus marks. The boom operator adjusts his position. Normal. A minor mistake. Happens 10 times a day on any set. But Harold Beckman steps forward. Again, his voice carries across the stage. How many times are we going to do this? The set goes quiet. Dorothy looks at him. I'm sorry, Mr. Beckman. It was just what? Just unprofessional, just wasting everyone's time, just costing the studio money. The director tries to intervene. Harold, it's fine. Minor mistake. Beckman talks over him. Do you know how much it costs to run this set for an hour? Do you have any idea? He's walking toward Dorothy now. We have a schedule. We have a budget. And you're standing here picking up the wrong prop like this is your high school drama club. Dorothy's face doesn't change, but her hands close into fists at her sides. I understand. I'll get it right. You'll get it right. Beckman laughs. Cold. Mocking. You've had 2 rehearsals and 3 takes. How many chances do you need? The crew is frozen. Camera operators stare at their equipment. Grip suddenly become very interested in the rigging. The script supervisor writes nothing. Everyone knows what's happening. Everyone has seen it before. This is about power. This is about reminding a young actress with no leverage that she exists at the pleasure of men like Harold Beckman. This is about public humiliation as management strategy. Beckman continues. You know how many actresses would kill for this role? How many could walk in here right now and do it better? He's close to her now. Close enough that she has to look up to meet his eyes. Maybe we made a mistake casting you. Maybe we should call someone else. Dorothy doesn't respond. Can't respond. Anything she says will be used against her. Defending herself is insubordination. Apologizing is admission of incompetence. Silence is her only option. But silence can also be resistance. Stewart watches from 15 feet away. He's been in Hollywood long enough to know when to stay out of internal studio politics. Been in enough films to know that producers have power actors don't. Been through enough to understand that intervening in moments like this can backfire, make things worse for the person you're trying to help. But there's something in Dorothy's face. The way her jaw sets. The way she refuses to look away from Beckman even as he dresses her down. The way she holds herself together when everything in this moment is designed to break her. Stewart recognizes it. It's the same thing he saw in young pilots during the war. The ones who kept their hands steady even when the flak was tearing through their aircraft. The ones who understood that panic was a choice and they were choosing differently. Dignity under pressure. Beckman is still talking. This is a professional production. Not some amateur hour. Either you can handle this or you can't. And if you can't, Harold. Stewart's voice is not loud. Doesn't need to be. The single word cuts through Beckman's monologue like a door closing. Everyone turns. Stewart hasn't moved. Still standing near the camera. Hands in his pockets. Face neutral. But something in his posture has changed. The set feels it. The way temperature drops before a storm. Beckman recovers quickly. Smiles. The smile of a man who knows how to navigate hierarchies. Jimmy, we're just handling a small production issue here. I heard. Good. Then you understand. I understand she picked up the wrong prop. Happens all the time. Happened to me last Tuesday. Stewart's voice is conversational. Even, remember, the telephone scene. I answered the wrong phone. You said it was fine. Said mistakes happen. Beckman's smile tightens. That's different. How? You're James Stewart. So, the set is dead silent now. No one is pretending to work. Every eye is on this exchange. This is not how these interactions usually go. Actors don't question producers, especially not in front of the crew. Especially not when the producer is Harold Beckman. Beckman's voice gets harder. So you've earned the benefit of patience. You've proven yourself. He gestures dismissively at Dorothy. She's 3 films in. She needs to learn professionalism. And you're teaching her by yelling. I'm teaching her the reality of this business. What reality is that? That if you can't handle pressure, you don't belong here. Stewart nods slowly, lets the words hang, then says, she's handling pressure right now. She's standing there while you berate her in front of 50 people. Hasn't broken, hasn't run, still ready to do the scene. Seems like she's handling pressure just fine. Beckman's jaw tightens. Jimmy, you're a great actor. You're not a producer. You don't understand the bigger picture. I understand people. This isn't about people. It's about the production. Productions are made of people. Beckman steps away from Dorothy. Walks towards Stewart. The move is calculated. Remove the focus from the actress. Make this about the 2 men. About hierarchy. About who gets to make decisions. Jimmy, his voice drops. Becomes almost friendly. I appreciate your concern. I do. But I need you to let me do my job. Your job is making sure this film gets finished on time and on budget. Exactly. Seems like stopping production to yell at an actress for 5 minutes isn't helping that goal. The crew is locked in. This is the moment. This is where Stewart either backs down or crosses a line that can't be uncrossed. Where he either defers to studio authority or stakes out a position. Beckman knows it too. Are you telling me how to produce my film? Stewart looks at him for a long moment. Then says, no. Beckman's posture relaxes slightly. Relief. The star is falling in line. But Stewart isn't finished. But I'm asking you to treat people with basic respect. The words land quietly, almost apologetically. Stewart's face hasn't changed. He could be asking about the weather. But everyone on the set understands what just happened. James Stewart, the biggest name on the call sheet, the actor whose presence gives this film commercial viability, the man whose face will be on the poster, just publicly challenged Harold Beckman's behavior. Beckman's face goes red. Respect is earned. No, respect is baseline. You don't have to earn the right to be treated like a human being. You show up, you do your job, that's enough. She made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes, including you, including me. That's not an excuse for cruelty. The word hangs in the air. Cruelty. It's the first time anyone has named what this really is. Not management, not professionalism. Cruelty. Beckman's voice gets icy. You're out of line. Maybe, this is not your call. You're right. It's not. Stewart's tone doesn't change. Still calm, still measured. But if you're asking whether I can work on a set where people get treated like this, where a young actress trying her best gets humiliated for a minor mistake, then maybe we should call Louis. Louis B. Mayer, head of MGM. The man who decides which films get made and which don't. The man both Stewart and Beckman ultimately answer to. It's not a threat. Not quite. But it's close. Beckman stares at him, processing, calculating. He has power but Stewart has more. He can make an actress's life miserable but he cannot afford to lose James Stewart. Not 3 weeks into production. Not with the budget already stretched. The silence stretches. 30 seconds. 45. The entire set holding its breath. Then Beckman turns, looks at Dorothy. His voice is different now. Flatter, professional, reset, take 4, let's get it right. He walks off the set. Doesn't look at Stewart, doesn't look at anyone, just exits through the sound stage door. The pneumatic hinge sighs as it closes behind him. For 5 seconds, nobody moves. Then the director says quietly, okay, reset, back to positions. The crew slowly returns to work. Grips adjust stands. Camera operators check their marks. The script supervisor flips to the right page. The machine starts again. Dorothy stands alone near the brownstone door. Her hands are shaking now. Just slightly. The adrenaline finally catching up. Stewart walks over, stops a respectful distance away. Says quietly, you okay? She nods. Doesn't trust her voice yet. That letter on the left. That's the one you want. A small laugh escapes. Thank you. You're doing good work. Don't let anyone make you think otherwise. She looks at him then. Really looks. Her eyes are wet but no tears fall. Why did you do that? Stewart thinks for a moment. Then says, because it was wrong. And because I could. He walks back to his mark. The director calls action. Dorothy enters. Crosses. Picks up the letter on the left. Reads it. Her performance is flawless. Contained emotion. Perfect timing. The kind of acting that makes you forget you're watching someone act. They print it on the first take. Harold Beckman does not return to the set that day. Or the next day. Or the day after that. A junior producer is sent to cover his responsibilities. No explanation is given. Everyone understands anyway. 3 days later, the call sheet is revised. Dorothy's role is expanded. 1 new scene added. Not much, just 2 pages, but it's something. A statement. She never asks Stewart about it. Doesn't know if he had anything to do with the change. But she suspects. The film wraps on schedule. Slightly under budget, actually. Turns out you can run an efficient set without terrorizing your cast. At the wrap party, Dorothy approaches Stewart near the bar. He's holding a ginger ale, talking to the cinematographer about lenses. She waits for a pause in the conversation. Mr. Stewart, can I talk to you for a moment? Sure, and it's Jimmy. They step away from the noise. Find a quiet corner near the coat check. I wanted to thank you for what you did on set. You didn't have to. Yes, I did. You could have stayed out of it. Most people would have. Most people are wrong. She's quiet for a moment. Then says, I've been trying to figure out what to do with it. With what happened, how to think about it. What do you mean? Part of me wants to forget it. Pretend it didn't happen. Move on. But another part feels like if I do that, then Beckman was right. Like I'm supposed to just take it. Accept it as normal. Stewart nods slowly. What happened to you wasn't normal. It was wrong. And you're right, forgetting it doesn't help. But I don't think remembering it has to mean carrying it forever either. Then what do I do with it? He thinks, takes a sip of his ginger ale, then says, you use it. Not as a weight, as knowledge. You know now what kind of person Beckman is. You know what kind of environment creates people like him. And when you have power, and you will have power someday, you remember. You make sure you don't become that. And if I never get power, then you still treat people right. You stand up when you can. You create the set you want to work on, even if it's just in how you behave. That matters too. Dorothy is quiet, then says, I'm going to remember this. What you did, how you did it. You didn't yell back at him. Didn't humiliate him the way he tried to humiliate me. You just held a line. Holding lines is important. Is that something you learned in the war? Stewart's expression shifts, just slightly. Yeah, among other things. She doesn't push, knows better, but she understands now that there's depth to this man that his or shuck screen persona doesn't capture. Weight he carries, things he doesn't talk about. Anyway, she says, thank you. Really? He nods. Go celebrate. This is your wrap party. She rejoins her friends near the buffet. Stewart finishes his ginger ale alone, then slips out early. Drives home through the empty Los Angeles streets, past studio lots and palm trees and houses full of people trying to make it in this strange industry. He doesn't think of himself as heroic. Didn't that day. Doesn't now. He just did what seemed right. What he wished someone had done for him years ago when he was starting out and powerless. That's all it was. That's all it needed to be. 1970. Dorothy Chen is now Dorothy Williams. Married, 2 children, working steadily, character actress, respected, the kind of career built on decades of good work rather than stardom. She's on a panel at the Screen Actors Guild. Topic: creating ethical sets. The room is packed, post-Easy Rider Hollywood. The old studio system is crumbling. New voices are pushing in. Young filmmakers talking about authenticity and collaboration rather than hierarchy and control. Someone from the audience asks her about the worst experience she ever had on set. She tells the story, not naming Beckman, he's retired now, irrelevant, but describing the incident. The public humiliation, the powerlessness, the fear. Then she talks about what happened next. James Stewart was on that set. He was the biggest star in the room. He could have stayed out of it. Should have, by the rules of how Hollywood worked back then. But he didn't. The room is silent. He didn't yell, didn't threaten, didn't make it about him. He just quietly, calmly stated that what was happening was wrong. That I deserved basic respect. And he was willing to walk if that respect wasn't given. Someone asks, did he ever talk to you about it afterward? Once, at the wrap party, I asked him why he did it. She pauses. He said, because it was wrong. And because I could. She lets that sit. That second part matters. Because I could. He had power. He used it to protect someone with less power. That's not heroism. That's just basic human decency. But in Hollywood, then and now, it's radical. After the panel, reporters want interviews. Want to know more about the Stewart story. Want names, want drama. Dorothy declines most of them. Gives one interview to Variety. Says only this: James Stewart showed me that power is a responsibility, not a weapon. That you can be strong without being cruel. That standing up doesn't require standing over someone. I've carried that lesson through every job since. When I see someone being treated poorly on set, I think about what he did. And I try to do the same. The article runs, gets some attention. Stewart, still alive, now 62, doesn't comment publicly. Friends say he doesn't remember the incident. They're probably lying out of loyalty. More likely he remembers but doesn't think it's worth talking about. That was just a Tuesday for him. Just doing what needed doing. But for Dorothy, it was the day she learned that silence isn't the only option. That someone can stand beside you. That power can protect instead of harm. She carries that the rest of her career. Teaches it to younger actors who come to her with their own stories of harassment and humiliation. Becomes the person on set who notices when someone is being mistreated. Who steps in, who holds the line. James Stewart gave her that template. Not through speeches or grand gestures. Through one moment of quiet refusal to accept cruelty as normal. Here is what the story asks: when you have power, whatever power looks like in your context, what do you do with it? Do you wield it over people or for people? Do you protect or do you ignore? Do you hold lines or do you let them blur? Because that moment on Soundstage 12 wasn't really about Harold Beckman or Dorothy Chen or even James Stewart. It was about a choice. A choice every person with any degree of power faces constantly. The choice to see cruelty and name it. To see injustice and interrupt it. To see someone being diminished and refuse to let it pass unremarked. Stewart didn't solve Hollywood's power problem that day. Didn't end harassment or hierarchy or the casual cruelty of an industry built on exploitation. One intervention doesn't change a system. But it changed one day. One set. One woman's experience. And she carried it forward. Used it. Multiplied it. That's what holding a line does. Not fix everything, just create a moment of resistance. A moment that someone witnesses, learns from, replicates. The ripple starts small, but ripples travel farther than we imagine. Who needs someone to hold a line for them right now? And if you have the power to do it, even a little, what's stopping you? Because all it takes is seeing the moment, recognizing it for what it is, and saying quietly, calmly, without drama, this is wrong. Sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that changes everything.